Hello everybody. Okay, so we are here again for another painting class, and welcome all you students. So today we're going to be painting a sunset with purples and also black mountains. It's a pretty simple one. It's something that I really like to teach, so I want to just dive right into it. Let you know the materials that we have. Of course, a covering. We have the palette with the paints on it. I'm using a wide brush. This is the brush that I'm using this time for this. It's about just over an inch wide. And then I have my water, and I have my paints, which is a yellow. And then I also have white here if we need it. I have a darker yellow, an orange, and then a deep magenta and a violet, and also some blue. And I have some black here, so we're gonna paint the mountains with the black. So we're just gonna get started on this. Now my brush is already wet. So what I want to do is dip it in the water and then dampen it on the rag here. Always have a rag or paper towels. And then I'm going to take the yellow. I'm going to start from the bottom and go to the top. This is what I'm using here is I'm actually painting on paper this time, and I painted some white paint over it to cover up another picture that I was doing. And that didn't work out very well, so I put some white paint on top of it, and now we're going to be painting on this. And I want to paint on paper and show you guys that you can paint on whatever you have. If all you have is paper, then paint on paper. And it's reusable, and it's good to practice, and it's good to create good art. So here we go. We're going to take the yellow, get a good amount of yellow on. I'm going to start at the middle and long brush strokes, and we're going to do about this much yellow, about almost a third of the page. That's pretty hard. I'm going to put a little bit of white in that, a little bit more yellow than I thought. So put a little bit of white on that. Long strokes all the way back and forth. The reason I do so much of this yellow is because the mountains are going to be coming here, and we want to actually be able to see some of the yellow. So that's one of the reasons why we're going to do so much of that. Okay, now I'm going to take the orange, and we're going to basically go right on top. About this much of the yellow, we're going to go right on top of that with the orange so we can blend that in. So just get the edges of it. Not that much, just on the edges. And start here, back and forth. And then put a little bit more and bring that orange up a little bit more. So now, because I'm going to be transitioning into almost a pink, I'm going to rinse this off. Get it onto the rag here. I'm going to mix here some of the magenta, the dark magenta, with some white. Mix that up to have like a lighter magenta or a lighter pink. And we're going to cross over this again. We're going to cover this. Get a little bit more of that. You can see you're blending into the one below it. Okay, so now I'm going to go to just the dark magenta. Get some on the edges there. And again, start in the middle, about halfway here, and go back and forth. Long strokes. You can see if I start in the middle and I stop, you can see the brush strokes that it creates. So we're going to go all the way along, all the way across. Okay, now I'm going to take a purple that I have here, dip into it. I'm not even going to rinse my brush. I'm just taking the purple, starting just into the magenta, And then I'm going to take the dark blue on top of that and go right on top of that. Then you create all of that, a little bit more dark blue. Then I might want to come down and do a little bit more purple. Really like that dark blue. It looks really, really nice on this. This is called Prussian blue, if anybody wants to know. Oh, and now I'm going to take a little bit more of the magenta and hit that up again. See if I can hit the little white up again, the light magenta. Rinse that off. Looks like it's getting a lot of that purple in there. Not exactly what I was looking for. Get a little bit more white. See if I can put some orange in there. Some of that dark yellow that I have here. Some of that light yellow. So I'm going on top of them and able to blend in from the color before. Add a little white now. All the way down to the bottom there. So you can see a sunset. Now I'm gonna let this dry for a little bit. And then when that's done, then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come back and put the mountains in, and that'll be pretty easy to do. So we'll just let that dry and I'll be back in just a couple minutes. Hi everybody, okay, I'm back. Painting is dried. And one thing I should have said earlier, should have mentioned to you, you know how I went from the bottom all the way up and then all the way back down? The reason I did that is because I wasn't happy with how I was doing the blending of it. So by the time I got to the top, I wasn't happy with it. So I was gonna just start at the top and blend all the way down. And if you need to, you can just go back and forth like that until you're happy with how you have it blended. The point is that you're happy with your painting as well. So the next thing we're gonna do now is we're going to paint mountains on it. I'm gonna get the piece of chalk and, I wanted to show you. These are a couple other really simple sunsets that we did in class one time that had different mountains. So you can see these are rolling hills. These one have more of a mountains, and this one is more of a jaggedy mountains. So you have different options that you can do. You don't have to just do all the rolling hills. You can also do trees like sunsets and cactus in the sunset, etc., etc. So I just wanted to let you know there are more options than just these mountains. But we're just going to do these mountains because it's simple, and I can show you right here, right now, and get this and have you see that. So here we go. I'm just take my chalk, start at the top here. Okay, so just very simple mountains. I'm just going to do these mountains so that they can just have a really nice effect against the sunset. And then afterwards, I have another special thing that I want to do that I didn't do on this one, but we're going to just do it to this one anyway. It's going to be fun. We're going to add stars. Okay, so I'll take you can take your big brush, or you can take your smaller brush, the smaller brush here, and you can just start painting. You can add a little bit of water, make it flow a little easier. And don't worry, on the when you use the chalk, after you've done with your painting, you can let the painting dry for 24 to 48 hours, and then you can just take a slightly damp cloth and you can just wipe off any of those marks, any of the chalk marks that are still left. Try to not touch it before 48 hours because you want to make sure that the paint fully dries and cures. But then afterwards, you can just take a damp cloth and just wipe off any of those marks that are left from the chalk. And you'll never ever know that they were there. Painting these mountains in. Really simple, just really easy, really simple. Some basic ideas of how to get this done, how to do that. You do that, let that happen. Okay, and then we're gonna do the fun stuff, which is you're gonna do the stars, but what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna cover the part below that I don't want to have hit with the stars. So I'm gonna cover that up because I just want that part up here. And what you do is I brought some extra water here. Take the water, take in your white paint so it's kind of like really wet, or you can have like a little separate little dish. You can't see, but if you add water, a little bit of water, and kind of make it like white water, mix a little bit of paint in there. And I'm gonna get my hands all dirty on this. Usually I do it flat down and then I flick it, but I'm not gonna do that. Do that here. So what I do is I'll flick it against my hand like this. That didn't work out very well. It's not working out. It's getting all over my carpet. You can also take and flick it like this. That's working out better. And I'll do this one too. Heck, why not? Lower that down and put a couple more out there so it doesn't look like a whole, like just one line on that. And then what I'm gonna do on this other painting, I'm gonna take my rag and I'm gonna wipe it off right away. Actually created a look almost like some, clouds in the sky on that. And it also has some stars. Anyway, that's that. Never mind on that. So then you can have, now you have stars in your mountains, and it looks like some of the, one thing that you'll run into sometimes is as the paint is drying, it shrinks a little bit, and you'll see like a little bit of area comes up where it looks like it wasn't painted at all. You can just add more black to that little area. And there you go. You have your sunset with your stars and your mountains. That's all for today.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right here. Bye.